Greetings, colleague. It's 202nd day of the heroic resistance of Ukraine. I'm Natalia Starobrava, and we start our series of briefings at the Mediacentru Ukraine. The region has become the key region to host the internally displaced people in Ukraine. I'm giving this floor to Oleksandr Kulepin, Deputy Head of Lviv Oblast Military Administration. So tell us, how is Lviv meeting the needs of the Ukrainian IDPs? Good day. Indeed, Lviv hosts over 400,000 people who are living here, who haven't lived here before the start of the full-scale war. Lviv has become a major humanitarian hub. Of the 400,000 we are welcoming today, about 200,000 do have the status of the IDP officially, and for the Lviv regional administration, we prioritize helping these people. As a RIA region, we know our mandate is to protect the people who lost their homes or who are evacuating from the area of operations or the front line. So we seek out opportunities to implement projects and partnership to assist the people by giving them shelter and support, but also helping them financial. And today we'd like to share one such partnership that has helped to bring in over 1,200,000 people as financial assistance for the internally displaced people. So we returned the money into the regional economy. In May, we heard from the charitable initiative Palianytsia, who reached out to the largest crypto exchange in the world called Binance and arrange support for the IDPs in Lviv through their mobile application, and that people would be able then to use the financial support in their plastic cards, Visa, MasterCard, or whatever other cards they're using. During the first meeting, we made an arrangement for the first 500,000 people. We would teach them, put them in the register, and the exchange would help them on their part. And we had the ambition of providing the system to the first batch. I would like to thank the team of Palianytsia and Anton personnel. I would like to thank the Department for Social Protection of Lviv Military Administration and Chief Department of Social Service in Lviv, who've helped us implement the initiative and who've helped organize access to shelter, provided financial support, and assured interaction between the Palianytsia team and the shelters and the people staying there, and prioritize the shelters that needed help most, or those that were hosting most people that needed such assistance, as all of them are in need of assistance, but there are women with small children, there are families with many children, and we prioritize assistance to them. So I would like to thank the team of the administration and Palianytsia team who've reached out, established dialogues, and we have broken a record in Ukraine as we have covered 7,500 people in Ukraine. So I would like to thank all the parties involved. Thank you. Now I'd like to give the floor to Anton Kosheliev, the co-founder of the Palianytsia charitable initiative. Tell us more about the cooperation with the Binance Charity Project. How did it all begin? Well, from the very start of the full-scale war, we established our foundation, and the foundation aimed to support healthcare, helping IDPs or refugees, in other words, and providing food rations. Since the early days of the war, we have implemented a number of projects jointly with Binance. They've reached out to us and helped us buy medical supplies. They helped us buy food kits. But then they heard our pleas when we sought funding for some internal projects that we wanted to implement. But then they approached me one day saying, "We have an initiative. We would like to help the most vulnerable people, the most needy refugees that find themselves in the worst predicament. the technical idea wasn't there yet. They thought they would use an application, as they're the world largest crypto exchange with the largest number of clients. Many of them are Ukrainians, but they realized this wasn't their focus group. So when the people did have a smartphone and the application and they know about cryptocurrencies and use the services, they wouldn't be people needing help most. So they asked us, how do we reach out to the people who are most afflicted, the women, people who've been rendered homeless, the sole parents, the disabled people? I didn't have an answer then. I only was determined to help. So I talked to the Lviv Oblast military administration. I brought the idea to Oleksandr and his team, saying we have this idea we've conceived with Binance and we would like to implement it. I was very cautious as it was a unique and unprecedented initiative. Importantly, there was a major awareness raising component when we had to educate the people how do they use it, how do they use the application, how do they transfer the money, etc. So we conceived a mechanism that we could use at the shelters. How do we find the target group of 5.5 thousand people? How do we train them to use the application and have them transfer the money to their cards? In 2.5 months or 3 months, we've managed to onboard this group of people and have implemented the initiative most successfully. I've been I've been accepted at the team of research group in Berkeley to learn the lessons from us in order to do the research that will then be used to help the people in predicament to ramp up help in Ukraine and other places where cryptocurrencies could provide emergency, effective, and efficient aid. Alexander, let's have you back. Please stay at the podium. We also have a chance to ask the questions to the speakers. Tell us more about the mechanism. This is not a straightforward operation, and this is a cryptocurrency exchange. So what makes it so special? What makes it special is that Binance is a cryptocurrency exchange and they have their application. And they've allocated their funding in cryptocurrency. They cannot send the money in hryvnia or any other fiat currency. They also aim to raise awareness, and this is an important criteria for them. So people have to install their application, and if they're eligible for assistance, our team screen the people for eligibility. Then they are added to the register and they receive the support, and they can then convert the money into hryvnia and have the hryvnia transferred to their card account. When we as a team arrived at the first shelter, and that was volunteered, the administration and social service, we realized that most vulnerable people are aged 50, 60 and over. Not all of them had a smartphone at hand, and they sought assistance from others. They wanted to use their smartphone in order to channel the money. And we agreed that if we just give them an application and provide them the funding through the application, they will see the money in their application and they won't be able to transfer their funds to their card account. It would be a failure. So we wanted to teach the people that once they receive the money, we will get a signal from the crypto exchange and make sure the money is transferred to their card account. And within the first month, We have handled over 500 people successfully. They've been able to transfer the money. This was the vetting of the mechanism. So we wanted to engage with the foundation very rapidly so the crypto exchange would see effective communication, effective cooperation, and the end result for the people. The people who were quite digitally illiterate have been taught and have performed the operations efficiently. So when the people learned about it and started writing emails and calling the Palianytsia Foundation in order to receive assistance, some women came in, the young women and attractive women came in and said, well, we know what crypto exchange is. We have the application. Why don't you transfer the money to our account? So we had to tell them, we're sorry, you're not the target audience. You're not the most vulnerable group of people the assistance aims to support. As far as I know, Binance is shutting down the pilot project of supporting the most vulnerable people. So when will the people be able to withdraw the money and what amount? Well, the closure of the program doesn't mean that people will be paid at some point in time. Currently, 30% of people who've been included in the program have received 3 payments. Many have received 2, and about 10% have received just 1 payment. And the procedure works that once the person registers, it takes a few weeks, and the person receives the first tranche. So there isn't a set payment date for all the recipients. There are certain groups, they're grouped in certain batches, and the payments are made continuously. So we can expect that the last person will be paid in a month or 2, but most people will receive their last payment of assistance in the nearest few days. And Alexander put it aptly that it was very important for us to show the statistic success of the project, not just to onboard 5.5 thousand people, but for them to make ample use of their assistance, as this is the target audience that is technically not very advanced in digital technology. We received a separate channel for the recipients of this assistance. It was a chat, and we filmed a number of videos, filming step by step the procedure they had to follow. How do they receive? How do they transfer? So we had explained every single detail. So this was the core idea. So how is Binance Charity and charitable initiative Palianytsia aim to support the Ukrainians who were forced to leave their homes? Are you planning to launch any other programs? We had a recent conversation, and this program of direct cash assistance will be analyzed. Our initiative with Berkeley University aims to study the effectiveness of the program, but Binance isn't going to stop there. And in just 2-3 months, we are planning to hold a Binance Charity Conference venued in London. And there'll be several reports about other means to support Ukraine. My initiative that I'm promoting these days when I communicate with Binance Charity is about many people still staying to live on in the shelters, and the conditions leave much to be desired. So extensive funding is required. A lot of existence is needed for people to make it through this winter. It's going to be a cold winter. It's going to be a difficult and demanding winter. And I'm seeking additional support from Binance Charity. It could be helping by heating devices, sleeping bags, some other infrastructure, support for the shelters, or some targeted assistance that would be focused on helping the shelters get through this winter. So this is my plea with them, to help them support us with these initiatives. To follow on with the topic, is the Lviv region standing ready to keep helping the IDPs staying here, helping the new arrivals, and what are the major challenges? As I was saying, it's one of the key priorities for the administration. We are now working to launch the academic year and support the educational process. And we had to re-equip the dormitories that were designated as the shelters for the IDPs, giving them decent long-term stay conditions. As we know, many were put up in the gyms, schools, which are not meant for long-term stay. These were makeshift solutions. So now we aim to equip these dormitories to give people good living conditions. So we have the Oblast the regional program. We are funding reconstructions. We have received 12 million hryvnia worth in bedding and furniture from Poland and State Reserve of Poland, and we're continuing the effort. We are working with partners to seek funding and equipment and to have better conditions and more of the conditions for people to stay. Being fully aware of the potential risk for the winter, we are planning for yet another wave of evacuation. Russia is attacking Ukrainian power plants now, and they may continue acting in a similar fashion in winter. So we'll be prepared to welcome all people who need support for this year and for next year. We stand with Ukraine as the rear. We had Oleksandr Kulepin, deputy head of Lviv military administration, and Anton Kosheliev, the co-founder of the Palianytsia charitable initiative. Thank you for the meeting. At 12, we'll have a meeting with the organizers of the festival Viter Nadii,